Hi and welcome. I hope you are good. Today the question that I'll be solving is how to get frequency table of a categorical variable in R. Now, to give you a hint, what this question actually means is I'll take a small data set called empty cast data set, which comes inbuilt with R. So let's have a look. Empty cars. Okay, so this is an empty cast data set. Now it has certain columns, and these are all the row names are the name of the vehicle. Now let's have a look at the empty cars data set, what it is. Okay, so motor trend car road tests. Description is the data was extracted from 1974 Motor Trend US magazine and comprises fuel consumption and 10 aspects. Now these are all the 10 aspects of automobile design and performance of 32 automobiles from 1973 to 74. So I'll be looking at few of the columns. Let's first take AM. AM is whether the vehicle is automatic or it's manual. So if we look at the column name description, the AM, this is the transmission. Now 0 stands for automatic and 1 stands for manual. So I'll just close this. So just for reference, I'll just copy this. Okay, so what we want to do is for this column, if we look at this column, empty cars AM, I hope the font size is fine. I'll just increase it a bit. Okay, so for this column AM, these are the entries 1100. So the objective is when we try to find the frequency table or the count of the categorical variables, what we want to know is how many ones are there in this vector and how many zeros are there. Now I'll be solving this problem using different techniques. One first is using base R. In base R, I'll not be using any other package. It's all the functions which are available in base R itself. Then I'll be solving this using a package called dplyr, and lastly I'll be using the package called data.table. So the same thing can be done in different ways. So let's start doing it in the base R. So using base R, in R there is a function called table. We'll be using table. So let's look at table. Okay, so cross tabulation and table creation. Table uses cross classifying factors to build a contingency table of the counts of each combinations of factor levels. Now let's when we use table, we have to give in as given a vector as one of the parameters. So in this case, the vector is this one. So let's pass in empty cast $am. Okay, so the output is 0, 19 and 113. So what this means is there are 19 vehicles in this data set, in the empty cars data set, which has 0 as 0, that is the automatic transmission, and 13 as the manual transmission. As you can see, the thing which I copied, 0 is for automatic and 1 is for manual. Now let's save this in a different object. Let's call am object. We want to see what is the class of this object. So this is a table. This is the class of this object is table. Now this is a good format, but I always prefer to get a data which is in tabular format in the data.frame or data frame format, so that it's easier for data manipulation. So to convert this am object into a data frame, all you need to do is as dot data dot frame and am underscore object. Okay, so now this is a data frame. Now you can see the variable names are not in the format as we want. So to convert this into a more uh, a column name which is more intuitive, let's say first save this am count, or let's call it df equal to, and let's rename the name of the columns. So to do that, we do names am underscore df equal to, as a vector, first is am, second is count, or you can keep frequency also, but I prefer using count, and we'll print it df. Okay, so again the same data in a different format. AM when the transmission type is 0, there are 19 counts. If it's 1, there are 13. The count is 13. Now this we did using the base R. Now there are different packages to do the same thing. The two packages which I prefer to use are dplyr and data.table. So let's do the same thing using dplyr. Uh, so let's do it in dplyr. So using dplyr package. So if you want to use a package, we first have to load it. Okay, it's loaded. Now in dplyr package, there are two things. First is the piping operation, and second the function which we will use for counting the basically to create the frequency table is the function called count. So to do that, in one line we can do, so our data frame is empty cars. We will pipe, and we use the function count, and we just need to give the name of the column name for which we found the frequency table, or for which we want to find the count. So in this case, the column name is AM. Okay, so as you can see, the data is same, but in this you can do it in one line of code, and the names of the columns are also intuitive. AM is the transmission type, N is the count. If you want to change the name, then we can as well change the name of the columns. Now, in case suppose you want not AM but some other column, let's see, head empty cars. Now suppose we want to know what all different types of gears and what is the count of the gears in the data set. So again we can do the same thing, empty cars, pipe it, count, gear. Okay, so what this says is there are 3 vehicles which is having gear. There are 15 vehicles which are having gear as 3, 12 vehicles having gear 4, and 5 vehicles having gear 5. Now we can also do the count on two different column names. What I mean to say is empty cars, count. Now if we give two column names here, let's see what happens. AM comma gear. Okay, so this means that when the transmission type is 0, that is automatic, there are 3 vehicles, and there are the gear is sorry, for automatic transmission and for gear 3 there are 15 different vehicles. Similarly, for automatic transmission and gear 4 there are 4 different vehicles, and so on. So you can go on increasing the number of columns you want in the count, but mostly it's like 2 or 3 you would like to find out. So till now I have used the dplyr package. Now I'll be using one more package called data.table that is also useful. I personally prefer using I prefer using dplyr, but in case your dataset is very big, say in GBs, then the performance of data.table is better than dplyr. So let's do the same thing using data.table package. So first thing you need to do is library, load it, data.table. Okay, the package is loaded. So the syntax is a little bit different from base R and dplyr package. So what we need to do is empty cars. Again, we'll first try to solve this problem using using data.table. So empty cars, you put it in square brackets, comma, then you put dot capital N, comma, now by equal to am. Okay, so this gives an error. Now the reason this gives an error is data.table package expects a data.table object, whereas empty cars is a data frame. If you look at the class, is a data frame. Now to convert this into a data.table object, we have to do as dot data.table. So this thing, the thing which I have highlighted, converts empty cars data frame into a data table, and now this should work. So again we get the same output am. Now if you use different packages, the name of the columns comes different. If you want to change the column names, you can change it. As I told here, if you just need to save it some in an object like this, where I have saved it in an object, then you do names and put the give the different column names which you want. So this is using am. Now suppose we want to do the same thing as we did here, that am and gear. So what we need to do is as dot data dot table empty cars, comma dot n, comma by equal to, now here you need to give it as a vector am. Let's check whether this will work. Sometimes it expects a list. Okay, it's working. So you have to give in the name of the columns on which you want to find the count. Basically all it is doing a grouping and then finding the count. So I'll just go to the dplyr package once more just to show one more example. Now count is a function already existing. Now to do this in a more generalized way, you can use the group by function. So what it does is using group by. So I'll just using group by in dplyr. So what you do is empty cars, and we'll be using the summarize function. So to use the summarize function, first you need to do is group by. So group by. So here you will give the column names am, again pipe, then summarize. Summarize is again count equal to, here you will give n. You get the same answer. Now to attain this output, what you need to do is, in addition to am, you need to give in gear. So as you can see, the outputs are same. So group by and summarize is more generalized method of doing this. Not just finding the count, you can find the mean, average, mean, median, or first and last. So a lot of things you can do using summarize. Maybe I'll try to go through the different functionalities of dplyr and also data.table in a later video. So I'll just uh, I'll just give you a summary of what we did. Using base R, what we did was data.frame table empty cars $am. Second, we used dplyr. So this was using using base R. Then using dplyr, for to use dplyr we did empty cars count am. So this was using dplyr, and then using data.table we did empty cars. Okay, first we converted it into a data.table. So as dot data.table empty cars, then in square bracket comma dot n comma by equal to am. Okay, I'll just highlight this. So this was using data.table. Okay, okay, it's not highlighting. Let's convert this into bold letters. This is just some formatting in our markdown. I'm just doing it so that it looks a bit better. Okay, I think there's some problem here. So what is the problem? Okay, let's leave it. There's some problem here, so I'll just leave it, not to waste time on this. You can try it, uh, different methods. Okay, so now I used a very small data set. I'll just take in another example using a bigger data set, which is called the diamonds data set, and it comes in the library called ggplot2, which is a data visualization library. So I'll you using diamonds dataset in ggplot2 package. So I'm not doing with data visualization. Yeah, I'm using just a package which comes with ggplot2. So first we need to load the ggplot2 library, and there is a data set called, let's look at the first few lines, DIMONDS diamonds. Okay, so this is the diamonds data set. Now we'll be interested in finding what is the count of the categorical variable called cut, and we can also try on count. So our data set is diamonds. Now we'll repeat the same thing which we did earlier, these things. So let's do it using base R. So we need to do data dot. Just one more thing I want to tell you. This is a big data set, and the dimension of this data set is around, like, there are around 15,000 rows, I think. Diamonds. Okay, sorry, there are 53,000 rows in this data set. So the output we'll get will have big numbers. So using the base R, so I'll use table. I want to find the frequency table for the cut categorical variable. So table DIA MONDS dollar cut. So this is the format, which is the table format. I want to convert it into data.frame. Okay, now you can as well change the name of the columns. I am keeping it as is right now. So this is using base R. Now we'll be using dplyr, using dplyr package. So what we need to do is take the dataset DIAMONDS diamonds count, and what was the column name? Cut. Okay, again using the more generalized method, which was using group by and then summarize. So using group by summarize. Now one thing note, the function also accepts s, but I'll be using r. You can use s also, it gives the same output. We can try this using group by summarize in dplyr. So diamonds, diamonds, pipe it, group by. If you press tab, if you have written not the full text and you press tab, it will show you different options. So I press tab, group by. On what we want to group by? Cut. Then summarize, count. Now this is the column, this is the name of the column that will come in. If you want to change it to some other thing, we can change it as well. Let's call it capital N equal to. Now this is the function that is used to count. Okay. Now as I told, instead of Z we can use S also. I think let's check. Okay, so it works for S also and Z also. It's just one of the functions which has dual names. Now this we did using dplyr, using count and group by summarize. Now the last thing is using the data.table package, using data.table package. So diamonds, diamonds. Okay, sorry. First we need to know just one thing. Let's check the class diamonds. So this is table and data frame, but data.table package accepts only data table objects. So as we did previously, first we need to convert the diamonds data frame into data table as data.table. So diamonds. Just I want to show you the class for this CLASS. See, as you can see, it's data.table also. So I'll remove this. In square brackets you need to put comma dot n comma by equal to cut. Okay, so we got the same output using different methods. There's one difference here. The name of the cut, these variables are in different order. So if you want to put it in the same order, then maybe you'll have to sort it. But this also a purpose. We were trying to find the frequency table or count of categorical variable. Okay, so let's look at it once more. We used empty cast dataset. We look at one of the columns, then the table function. Now question mark table, just if you press Control Enter, it will show you the description and the help file. I have used R in Jupyter Notebook. You can very well use R Studio as well. So we did this thing just to look a little bit fancy. We can change the column names here. Then we use the dplyr package, and we used dual. We grouped it on two different column names and found the count. Then group by using dplyr. This is a more generalized method, and then using the data.table package. If the data set is small, better use dplyr. It also works with large data sets also, but I have seen that if the data set is very big, like say in GBs, like 1 or 2 GB, then data.table package is faster than dplyr or base R. So again, we did the same thing with the diamonds data set. Because this is a bigger data set, it has lot many columns than the lot many rows than the previous one. And so we use the dplyr package, first the count, then some group by summarize, and again that data.table. So this is all I had for today. I personally have used these methods a lot, and they are quite useful. So I hope this was useful for you, and hopefully you will use it if you have not already used. So thanks a lot, and take care.